okay? This uncertainty gnaws at me. Knowing that she's real might also go after the people I care about. I just wish someone would listen. Believe me. The abrupt break in the silence nearly makes me jump out of my skin. Blindly, I fish out my phone from under the mess of papers and cushions where I've carelessly thrown it before taking a shower hours ago. Zach's name flashes brightly on the screen. Is he calling because of this afternoon? Frankly, it's the last thing I want to discuss, but I did leave the two of them there without saying anything. Knowing Zach, I bet he's worried.
Hey, Zach.
Oh, good. I thought for sure you're not gonna pick up.
Sorry, it took me a while to find my phone.
No worries. You game tomorrow?
I pause. I don't recall making plans with Zach for the weekend.
Did I forget something?
Remember that guy I told you about? Back in the movies? The, priest? For the blessing? Does it ring a bell?
Oh, right. I did say that, but I didn't think he'd actually go through the trouble, especially after what happened with his film. Sometimes I forget how kind Zach can be.
Yeah, I remember. Is he fine with it?
My friend doesn't mind. We're lucky he's not busy. So, tomorrow, he'll meet us at the mansion.
Okay. Sorry for the trouble, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, Zach seems chill. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how everyone. They're kind of weird friends.
Hey, no problem. I'm the one who suggested it to begin with. And, well, this afternoon you did surprise us. Never seen you scream like that. You scared the hell out of Rebecca.
I guess I owe you a lot for this, huh?
Nah, we're cool. You had us worried. But I know you'll tell us about it eventually.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you're doing well. You left all of a sudden and you're not answering any of our calls.
He's trying to get me to talk. Normally I'd tell him I'm fine, say a few simple reassurances to put their minds at ease. Now nothing will form. I can't bring myself to say anything. Seems to have sensed my hesitation because he immediately changes the subject.
Yeah, anyway, I gotta go. I left something on the stove before making this call. Just soup. But it'd be embarrassing if I burned soup.
I doubt it. Ashton, on the other hand...
Oh, remind me to tell you about what he did with the pressure cooker next time. Oh, damn, it overflowed. Really need to get going. Bye, Bella.
He hangs up before I can thank him. Busy tone, though muffled, echoes through the receiver. No one is saying this will work. Even I'm doubtful it will. But right now, I'll take anything. Anything to get out of this nightmare. Sleep comes easier tonight. And for the first time in a long time, I dream. Clear skies of unrestrained laughter from children playing in the streets and of small, cramped dwellings. To an outsider, the sight does not paint a pretty picture. However, this is home to me. Morning dawns bright and clear the following day. Although the air still feels muggy and I miss the chilly autumn weather, it's one of those rare weekends when I'm up even before my alarm rings. If it wasn't for Zach's call last night, I'd probably sleep in. When 9 a.m. rolls around, I'm already on my way to Ermengarde Mansion. To think that I'd have to go back again. I'd be lying if I say I'm excited. I don't have to anymore. Rose happily gave me paperwork duty when I volunteered. We're on the last phase of the sale, too. Well, almost. Papers to sign, documents to finalize, various other legalities to settle with the current owner, and all that still. Never mind that its new owners want everything done within the week, when the process typically takes more than that. They want it done, we'll get it done. I really, really don't understand rich people. But money can do wonders. I won't be surprised if they'll be able to push the process just a little more, like what they did to secure the house. The point is, I'm under no obligation to return to the house anymore. Running is an option, of course. I can now move on to another property and forget everything. However, at the end of the day, it's always my conscience that wins. What if something happens to those who have seen the letter? Ash, Zach, Becca, Miss McCullough, the Wrights. The guilt will follow me to my grave. The mansion looms as we approach, whispers welcoming me back, shadows calling. I hope this is the last time. Oh my god, is that Markiplier? They are engaged in a quiet conversation when I find them in the mansion's front gardens. But even with familiar company, it's impossible to feel at ease. No matter who I'm with, the feeling of being watched is there, like the very place itself is aware of its trespassers. Zach, on the other hand, doesn't seem to notice. Or he simply doesn't care, or he's already used to it. I could never tell with him. Sometimes he's almost as hard to read as Ash. Almost. At least Zach doesn't ask for as much patience as dealing with Zach does, and that says plenty about him. Miracle of miracles how the two have ended up the best of friends. He waves at me as I approach. True to his promise, Zach also brought his friend with him. Father Norman. Somehow, I expected him to look older.
Oh, don't be surprised. They say people who have found their calling are getting younger these days.
Sorry, Father. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
No offense taken. Though I admit I'm a bit surprised. I didn't think someone would ask this house to be blessed after all these years.
You've heard of it, Father?
In passing. The occasional rumors and talk by the locals, nothing new. You don't spend years serving the church here without hearing a random hearsay here and there.
You never mentioned what you thought of those, Father.
Ah, but he who goes down to the grave does not come up. He shall never return to his house, nor shall his place know him any more.
But what I saw...
May not be what you think. It depends entirely on what you mean by it. If you're talking about spirit beings, angels, demons, then yes. Are we talking about the spirits of people who have departed? The word makes it clear that once the deceased has left us, they are gone. But of course, I didn't come here to bore you with a lecture.
No, it was enlightening, Father. Thank you.
Just remember that a God who loves his children would never let them linger once the time comes.
That's the rub, though, isn't it? This God might not. Like, come on, my guy.
That's what my papa often tells me.
Your father must be a good man. He raised you well, no doubt. Well then, shall we? Regardless of what it is, I'm sure the mansion's new owners would appreciate such sincere intentions. From a stranger, no less.
He lets Zach and I walk ahead. Relief. This way, he won't see how tightly I'm clutching the straps of my bag. Father Norman's probably trying to put me at ease. The worry, the cold, restless, foreboding feeling has firmly lodged itself in my stomach, making its presence known with every step we take towards the house.
Hey, you okay?
Zach lightly nudges my side, careful, mindful of his motions to avoid startling me. I think we're gonna be truthful. We should be truthful. Like, that's just how it goes. Like, we don't want Zach to die. He seems chill. It's hard to lie when Zach gives you that look. It's just there. The kind that implores, a silent appeal. Not sure if he's even doing it consciously. Another breeze blows and I try not to shiver. Try not to listen to the voices that may or may not be there.
This place really gives me the creeps.
It doesn't seem more than an ordinary house to me, though. Damn, I should have brought my camera with me. I saw a few areas that'd be good for a shoot. You think the new owners will allow it?
Shh! What if you catch something? Or someone in one of the pictures?
It just means they want to be seen, doesn't it?
Don't ask for it.
It's not like we can stop them if they do.
You're really not helping, Zach.
All right. Sorry. Don't worry. I don't think whatever's inside this house will do anything. I'm here, yeah? I'll take care of them. Or I think I can.
You're not that scary, but thanks. I'll be sure to run behind you if I see one.
Ridiculous talk, though the temporary reprieve it lends is more than welcome. He offers me a smile in return, least he could do. And with a slight motion of his head, he gestures for us to move ahead, while my own fears are left forgotten for the time being. The things inside my bag clatter softly against each other while I rummage for the keys to the mansion. I should have heard the telltale jingle by now, but didn't I put it in my bag last night? Seconds later, I'm sitting on my heels, and one after another, I'm taking out everything from every pocket, every slip. It'll be a pain to put everything back later, but I'm sure it's just under these... nothing. Oh man, of all the times to forget...
Matter?
No, I'm sorry, Father. I think I left the key...
No use coming up with excuses, and right after they've both taken the time to go this far away from the city. With a heavy sigh, I grab the door handle to pull myself up, a string of apologies ready at the tip of my tongue.
Careful, Bella!
We've spoken with the current owners. Well, technically, you're not yet the owners, but...
There's a brief moment of confusion, and then I'm falling. The momentum of the door swinging open pulls me back first into the mansion's foyer before I can make sense of what's happening.
Ow, 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 my back.
What the... Isabella?
No time to nurse my bruised back or make up excuses, because the next thing I know, Zach's gently pulling me upright by my arm. Rose looks down at me with a mixture of apprehension and something I couldn't quite place. I'd say it's relief, but... Ah, sheesh. Good going, Isabella, right after you volunteered to work on the papers. And standing behind her...
Ma'am Hannah! Mr. Wright!
Oh, Isabel. We always meet in the most interesting circumstances.
A complete understatement, darling. What are they doing in my house?
Abruptly, he waves his hand at Zach and Father Norman like their presence is a slight against
I
his
thought
own.
you said you wanted to do paperwork duty. What are you doing here?
Like a deer caught in the headlights. Unfair, Rose. That's putting me on the spot. And it leaves me no other choice but to answer.
The reason why I'm here?
Well, spit it out, Lily. We don't have all day.
I'm just here to make sure everything is fine before you move in.
I'm so sorry, Mama. You said I'll go to hell if I lie. I likely will after this, but there's no other way. Well, it isn't entirely a lie. I am here to make sure no one disturbs them after they move in. It just so happens that what I'm checking for and trying to drive away is of the paranormal variety.
Oh, the house appears impeccably fine to me.
Mr. Wright shifts his eyes around in a careful manner, as if he's looking for faults in every crevice of the house. The grin on his face, though, when he returns his attention to me, is similar to what my cuya Jordan had often given me when he was up to something. Usually a scare prank that inevitably ended in me crying. I never did forget the way my brother sneered at me then. A part of me thinks that perhaps if I hadn't been the object of his mischief in childhood, I would have grown a little braver.
Come on, little Lily. Lying doesn't do that cute little face any justice. I'm a very patient man. Now, why are you really here?
Right now, in the face of an almost identical expression, perhaps even crueler than what I'm used to, the lie I told falls apart.
The truth is, I was just thinking we could have the house blessed before move-in day.
And why would we ever need to have this house blessed?
For luck and protection.
I shrink under his scrutinizing gaze. For a second, I think he'll start shouting at me. Instead, he laughs. Not the mocking, jeering kind, but one wondering if he's hearing things right. I'd say he was amused, but I honestly couldn't understand what was so funny with what I just said. Was it really that weird? Wasn't it a custom here? I wish Becca was here to explain stuff like
That's
this.
rich coming from you. When we saw Devlin Court, you didn't...
It's a small custom back home. I thought it would be nice to do something that would bring positive energy to the mansion, since this place has been empty for years.
And the papers, Isabella? I hope you did those first before this.
Of course I did. It's almost done, in fact. But there are some items I still have to double-check before finalizing everything. You know I don't sign without a thorough inspection. And well, this is what this is for, too. I just thought it would be more efficient to do both at the same time.
Here I thought you didn't want to go back.
A job is a job, Rose. Gotta do what you gotta do to make a living.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then go ahead. No need to be so hard on her, Rosie. I personally think it's a nice touch. I was actually thinking of the same thing, but you beat me to it.
Darling, Buttercup, please. You know these things don't work.
Darling Buttercup.
No offense meant to the holy man, of course. That does not explain the though.
What? Whoa! That is fucking wrong. Whoa. I was not expecting that out of this game. Holy shit. Although a desire to do so is evident in the way her eyes nervously shift to Mr. Wright. Meanwhile, Zach's grip on my arm suddenly tightens. He doesn't say anything further, but there's a conflicted look on him when I glance up. That's the face he makes only when he desperately wants to give someone a piece of his mind, but chooses not to do so, mostly to avoid confrontation or fanning the flames to an argument. He has always been like this, even among his own friends. He chooses to take a placating stand, and despite holding opinions of his own. Not that I won't say anything. I know Mr. Wright's a client, but you can't just say that in front of other people, in front of Zach, no less. If Ashton were here, I know he wouldn't stand for it, and neither do I. There was a reason why bullies back home never touched my younger brother again after I gave them a taste of their own medicine. He might be inches taller than me, but I'm pretty sure I can still land a hit or two. Maybe. If only I'm not going to get in trouble with BRC for it. But before any punches could be thrown, Ma'am Hannah...
Lucille Mitchell Wright.
In a voice too firm, demanding his complete silence. What? Oh, God. That seems to have done the trick. He immediately shuts his mouth, but not before muttering a few inaudible words under his breath. At this, Ma'am Hannah could only sigh and roll her eyes, more than happy to get back to the topic at hand.
I'm sure she knows what she's doing, love. She got us the house, remember? Who knows what a little positive vibe can do? It could even give us what we've been eagerly waiting for all these years.
What have we been waiting for? I don't think I was ever informed of.
Nothing you should worry about right now. Anyway, we've still got a few things we need to discuss with Rosie here. Over lunch? I hope you don't mind, Isabel. We'd love to take you with us, but...
Oh, no. Go ahead, ma'am. This'll take time. That's why there's two of us working on this.
Rose looks like she's about to murder someone. Probably me. At least she won't have to stay in a haunted property. She's getting the better end of this deal if anyone's going to ask me.
Oh, wonderful. I hope the next time the three of us meet, it'll be over a closed deal,
Of course, ma'am. Please look forward to it.
Rose hurriedly hands me the keys to the house before leaving, mouthing reminders to secure the place and harmless threats for throwing her under the bus. I return it with a reassuring smile of my own, even if she's the one who forgets. Sheesh! And just like that, gone, just as quickly as they appeared, fleeting from one scene to the next and leaving me wondering if this is simply what's typical for the rich and famous. Bro, that was fucked up. If so, I'd rather stay with my run-down apartment or our little shack back home. There's still joy in the smallest things, after all. With a house this big, it's not surprising when the ceremony takes a few hours to finish. The sun's already high by the time we've gone through the last room. I can never say I'm a devout follower of my own faith, even with Mama and Papa's teachings. But hearing every word Father Norman uttered as we went around this house has put me at ease. All of a sudden, the mansion doesn't seem so scary anymore. Maybe there is an end to this. Or perhaps this is the end? Father Norman bids us goodbye upon exiting the mansion grounds. He has business in the village nearby, he says, a minute gesture to reach out to the members of their parish every once in a while. It reminds me of a distant memory of helping hands and a few kind smiles that helped my family pull through when times were tough. But before he leaves...
Isabella, a word before I go? Zachary hasn't been really forthcoming with your situation, and it is something I understand it wasn't his to share. But whatever burdens you, know that it's not a permanent fixture in your life. Besides, you have people to bear it with.
I bite back the harsh retorts before they come out, masking it with a smile as we wave the good priest off. His words, though, meant to comfort, has only left a bitter taste in my mouth. And if they don't believe you, what am I to do? A hand lands briefly on my shoulder, taking me out of my thoughts before they take a sullen turn. But my smile doesn't quite reach my ears when I turn to him.
Say, do you want to go somewhere?
Right now? Where to?
Anywhere in the city. I'll leave it up to you.
Should we hang out with Zach some more? Or maybe, I don't know. I think hanging out with Zach is a good idea. That makes it so that we have the least chance of being attacked by a ghost. But yeah, let's hang out with Zach.
It wouldn't hurt. I've got some stuff I need to buy. Groceries. And there's a shop I want to check.
Is it real food this time?
Let me guess. Rebecca?
She's just worried about you. Even I can't eat that much instant noodles.
Think of it as a talent. Let's just go, Zach.
I smile. A real one this time. Devoid of any unpleasant thoughts. Regardless of what happened between us these past few days, I don't want to think harshly of them. Zach had me wait on a nearby bench upon arriving, prior to going off somewhere. He hasn't returned since, and it's been a good 20 minutes of being left alone entirely to my thoughts. In this weather, the city park gives off a lazier and more languid vibe than usual. Where children are usually seen running around and playing, there are now people lying, leaning back on their picnic blankets, simply enjoying the afternoon sun. Smell of food drifts from nearby carts as if the wind blows in the right direction. And if the wind blows in the right direction, one would catch the whiff of a freshly trimmed grass. I'd gladly sleep on this bench if I wasn't waiting for anyone. Soon enough, I see his hulking figure running towards me, carrying a medium-sized box on one hand and casually waving the other at me. He's panting when he reaches my bench. Sweat drips profusely from his forehead, but there's a grin on his face.
Sorry, the line was really long. Really long.
You didn't have to run. Sit down first.
Nah, I'm good. Didn't want to make you wait for these.
I already know what's in the blue box before he opens it. Cinnamon rolls. 6 of them topped with a white cream cheese glaze. The very same one I bought after I sold my first property. After I met Zach, Ash, and Becca. Funny how such a small thing could trigger a distant memory, no matter how mundane it is. I don't say no to free food, but why is he getting me these now?
What for?
We will get him next time, don't you worry. He leans on the empty space beside me, wiping the sweat off his forehead before
An
answering.
apology. And his thanks for yesterday and the other day.
You don't have to buy me anything, Zach.
You were upset. You haven't been yourself recently, and people kind of miss that, you know?
Are you just saying that, or...
No, really. Rebecca told me. You know how she is. Ashton, too.
Ashton was an ass. He should have been named Ashhole instead.
He went a little overboard, yeah. I can talk to him if you want.
He'll still tease me about it, even if it's Rebecca telling him to stop. Besides, I can handle him.
You always do. And yesterday, when you talked me through my little slump, I thought, hey, I want our old Isabella back. Are you still upset?
There are times when I wish Zach had been my big brother, or Becca my older sister. Maybe life would have been a little easier. Maybe Papa wouldn't be as sick as he is. Maybe. Maybe I wouldn't be alone here. And again, if he is, if they are what I wish them to be, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met Ash, too. Life back home is tough, but for all that, I wouldn't change it for one selfish wish. In this city of 68,000 people, I have people I could depend on. 3 of them, in fact. When you think about it, when you compare the numbers to the odds of finding someone like them amidst the sea of nameless people, I'm lucky.
Thanks a lot for today, Zach. You didn't have to, but you did. I can always count on you.
Just me? No Ashton or Rebecca? Oh boy, they won't be happy to hear that. I don't mind being the favorite, though.
Nope, no favorites. But you cook better than both of them, so that's a plus.
It's always been food with you, ain't it?
Don't put it like that! You're making me sound like a glutton.
I'm not saying you are, but it does feel good to know there's someone I can invite for food to be able to eat all of it.
Only that? I thought we were also art buddies.
Oh, that too. But the food thing really stands out when you think about it. You do eat a lot for someone your, size.
Low blow. I take pride in my height.
So, is it okay now? Do you feel better? Does it still
Yes, he
sting?
does.
A little. I'll be okay. I'll figure it out, somehow. It's not as bad as the other day, and Father Norman helped too. I should have brought something to thank him.
Oh, we could visit him anytime. He loves hearing from the young ones.
He isn't that old, is he?
Don't know. He doesn't tell. I think I might have seen his face somewhere before. I just couldn't recall when or where. Ash says he looks like his boss, so the bartender at the local pub if he squints. Don't take his word for it, of course. He might have accidentally inhaled something from the forensic lab again when he said that.
This time, the laughter that comes from both of us is genuine. Back to the usual. Things may not have been the easiest lately, but it certainly isn't the worst that has happened. We do end up sharing the cinnamon buns between us, despite Zach's insistence that it's only for me, but more than the food, there is relief and
If you
contentment.
need anything, just ring, okay? Like when Ash annoys you too much. I'll help you with him, best friend or not.
No way. I can take him on.
Still an extra muscle wouldn't hurt, yeah? Just let me know, and I'll back you up. My sister knows this one thing to shut him up when he's being his usual self. Ask me what it is whenever you want, and I'll spill it.
I don't think that's necessary, but thanks. I'll keep that in mind.
He leaves me with a smile and a wave. Off to some new gig again. As for me, we still need to talk. Becca, Ash, and I put petty arguments aside like the adults we all are. This, however, is a start, no matter how small it may be. I just hope I can keep them safe. A light wind blows again, sending dried leaves swirling out and the distinct smell of earth into the air. For the first time, the sunlight feels less harsh. Maybe a walk is good. I need to visit the grocery, too. Come to think of it, wasn't there an art store that opened recently near the park? Right. The cat's name is Bruthiel. Or at least that's what his collar says. It's an odd name to give a cat, in my opinion. But it speaks grace much like the one that carries it. It shows in the way he swishes his tail and his eyes follow my hands every moment. Not sure what he finds fascinating in me, to be honest. I wasn't the very picture of grace when he found me, after all. It was a bad idea carrying 2 heavy bags of newly bought art materials and groceries without help or a sure ride home. In hindsight, perhaps I shouldn't have bought all these at the same time. I didn't even make it past the park. And now, I'm suffering underneath the glaring afternoon sun, hunched up on a park bench and drenched in sweat, in the company of a cat curiously watching my every movement. I hope it stays where it's at. It's just a black cat, but at home they're considered ill omens.
Don't look at me like that. I can act graceful as well if I want to.
Not that I've ever acted graceful in my life, of course. Growing up with rowdy younger brothers and a sister does that. Or maybe it's the opposite. Mama used to call me a little troublemaker before. Well, graceful or not, there's no use moping. A short breather and then I'm off home. Besides, It isn't like the company's bad, even if it's a cat. As long as it doesn't bite or crosses my path.
Well, where's your owner, anyway?
He has one, doesn't he? An owner? That's what the collar's for, isn't it? Bandage is wrapped on one of its paws, though. I wonder what happened to it. Did he run away?
Well, if you don't have one, I won't be able to take you in. My apartment doesn't allow pets. I tried to bring one home before, a cat. Not black, of course. And Rebecca threw a fit before the landlady could.
I take a small packet of sweets from one of the bags beside me and pop it open. As I'm about to put one into my mouth, he meows. My hand stops.
Do you want one?
He doesn't meow again as I'm expecting him to. But I take his unblinking gaze as a yes. Shift the piece to my palm and hold it out to him warily. He sniffs at it once, twice before. Oh my god! She's back! I'm glad that you got some help today, Noir. I'm good. I've been streaming for several hours. Like a good, properly trained pet, Baruthiel responds as soon as he's called. Recognition comes as soon as my head snaps in the direction of the voice. Miss McCulloch's hard to miss, but with her height.
I'm sorry. Did my cat hurt you? Miss Santos, was it? I'm surprised to see you here.
Nice to meet you again, Miss McCulloch.
Were you harmed in any way? I'm sorry. Baruthiel's not exactly fond of other people. Even run away from the veterinarian right now.
Oh no, he was just sniffing my hand earlier.
My Baruthiel's a she.
Wow. The pause in conversation, if this can be called one, is uncomfortable. Merely two people working different jobs for the same client. Frankly, meetings like this don't happen a lot, and if it does, a simple nodding of heads is enough. Still, trying to be friendly wouldn't hurt, right? Alright, do we want to talk about a cat, or talk about her job? Okay, that's about right. I keep my tone cordial and warm.
I'm actually surprised you have a cat, Miss McCulloch.
Miss McCulloch?
And why exactly is that? There are a lot of people who have pets.
Yeah, but not a black one. I'm amazed you're taking care of one.
I don't understand what you're trying to get at. Is there a problem with my cat?
No, not at all. She's very sweet. Just in other cultures, aren't they a sign of bad luck?
Back at home it is. My grandmother used to tell me stories about it, and
Nothing has happened to me so far.
displeasure is evident on her face. Of course, I've forgotten that for other people, black cats are an omen of good luck. What? There you go again, running your mouth off, Isabella. I rack my brain for a way to remedy the situation, but she holds out a hand.
This is a good place to stop and end this conversation, don't you think so?
Oh no! We made her mad! Shit!
It is good to see you again, Santos.
A complete dismissal if I've ever heard one. Wow, that did not go well. I watch her as she leaves, though she stops shortly before crossing the threshold, separating the park and the street. She faces me again, looking like there's something she's forgotten to say.
By the way, about the Ermengarde mansion, with my clients, it's the rights. I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking, but has the deal been finalized?
There's still a few papers they need, but the house is more or less theirs now.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Wait, about the mansion,
The letter, the same one they saw. Whoever she is, she's asking for help. Someone. I want to tell Miss McCulloch that the urban legends aren't just legends anymore. They're real. She's not going to believe me.
Don't mind me. I need to go too. Have a good day, Miss McCulloch.
I hasten to pick all the bags I've left on the bench and ran as far as my legs can take me. In that moment, what I'm carrying in my hands weighs far lighter than the overwhelming guilt trying to home. I want to go home. Anywhere I won't be reminded of the house. Of her. of my own cowardice. Food tastes less appetizing to pity. One would think that someone who had been on a continuous binge of instant noodles would find a home-cooked meal enjoyable, but it isn't. Hunger isn't what's gnawing at me tonight. Neither are my sore muscles. The TV runs loudly in the background, but what it says barely registers in my brain. It's hard when the things you're trying to forget keep returning to the forefront of your mind. It distracts you, eats at you, devours you. I wish this would stop. I wish I wasn't the one who picked it up. I wish it was somebody else.
In other local news, a woman was found dead in her home.
Oh.
Luxbourne police officials are currently investigating the crime scene, but has classified the case as homicide.
Huh?
The victim, identified as Rose Pamela Cooper, 33 years old, working as a real estate agent.
Oh no. Rose just died. No. No. Rose?
Discovered lying in a pool of blood in her two-bedroom flat with the words "Help me" repeatedly written on the walls.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Oh my god. Oh god. The music is really getting there. This isn't supposed to happen. None of this is supposed to happen. No one's supposed to die. Those are just stories, right? Legends! That's what everyone has kept telling me, so why? And I immediately rushed to my study table in search of my phone. My hand, cold from dread, clings tightly to it as soon as I touch its edges. A piece of folded paper. The letter, lying unassumingly beside it, slips to the floor when I pick up the device. But I pay it no mind. There are more important things. Right now, I need to call her. I was with her. I was just with her not too long ago, and she was okay. No. It isn't Rose, I'm sure of it. I just talked to her, and a sob escapes me, and hot tears begin to blur my vision. One after another, they trickle down, weighted by the very same guilt I refuse to admit I've been carrying from the start. The same one I've been hiding from. The same one that has put the people I care about in danger. My hands shake as I navigate to Rose's number on my contacts list. She'll answer, right? That's what she always does. She'll pick it up. She'll tell me to turn down the waterworks and call me a wuss afterwards.
Please answer, Rose.
Again and again I dial, whispering, praying, pleading.
Come on, Rose. Don't do this to me. I know you're there, Rose. You're not dead. Please tell me you're
Thank
not.
you. Oh god, I hope she's not actually dead, but I know she
To
is.
the series of deaths and disappearances that has plagued Luxbourne in the recent years. The authorities are currently looking at a possible link with the notorious Anselm Butcher case.
Whoa! The TV runs loudly in the background. A deafening static sounds from my phone's speakers, but in my ears I can only hear the screams, her pleas, her whispers. We are not safe. A buzzing sensation jolts me awake. My body still wants to sleep, to forget what I heard, what I saw last night. But it's there, nudging, prodding at me. Slowly, I become aware of how awkward my position is, and the aches that accompany sleeping in a curled-up position the night before. If I even slept at all. The memories are impossible to forget now that Rose is gone. They say it's easier when you say it out loud. Instead, the words weigh heavier on me each time. She's gone. Gone because of me. Gone because of one letter I was too curious to look at. I should have been more careful. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I should have destroyed it before anyone else had gotten involved. I should have... The notification light on my laptop blinks incessantly, mockingly when I look at it, as if it's calling me back to a sense of normalcy. Wow. I check it, nevertheless, out of habit, more than anything. To all BRC employees, in light of the recent events, there will be an all-staff emergency meeting from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Attendance is a must. Company changes, new hierarchy, and policies will all be discussed during this meeting. Everyone is expected to bring a copy of their own attendance log and sales reports for the last 6 months to be submitted to your respective managers for review. We're expecting everyone's cooperation. If this were one of those typical days, I'd happily comply and get myself to our office. Today my limbs just feel heavy. On one hand, going will keep me busy, take my mind elsewhere. On the other hand, the place itself is a stark reminder of what my own fears have cost me. Should I just... All right, y'all. Decide. Do we go to work or do we stay at home? All right, we'll go to work. I'm cool with that. Moping won't get me anywhere. This is just like one of those things, isn't it? You'll deal with it with a smile no matter how bad things get and hope for the best. Although my whole body feels like lead and my limbs are sore, I push myself away from the chair and head for the shower. The letter I dropped on the floor last night flutters open as I pass by, unfolding it for no one else but me to see. Every word written on it glares back at me. They sneer. They ridicule. Like living beings fully aware of what they've done. With a huff, I pick it up and shove it into my bag, perhaps with more anger and frustration than I'm used to showing. This, too, I'll deal with. She should mail it to Santa Claus. Maybe he would show everyone, and then it would be all fine. Everyone in the world would, one by one die. But, that gives you a lot of time, because, there's a lot of time between, I doubt it's going to be, an immediate chain effect of death. And then, you have, 7 billion people before you die. Come on. Somehow I'll find a way to make things right. I have to, before it takes more people from me, even if I must do it on my own. Papers rustling, telephones ringing, feet shuffling. Overall, today looks like a typical working day at Briar Realty Corporation. Except it isn't. The air is thick with tension and unspoken questions. No doubt everyone present has already heard about Rose. If they missed last night's report, they'd likely to see it in the morning news, in the papers, or on various news sites on the internet. Everywhere is a bitter reminder. In fact, everyone's giving me a wide berth, as though the mere mention of Rose would be enough to trigger something in me. It's appreciated, but it only serves to create a bigger hole in the place Rose has left. After lunch, my boss calls for a meeting. I don't have to look up from work to know what it's about. He's in a strange, pensive mood today, probably out of respect for a dead colleague. Oddly, I'd appreciate it more if he just shouted at me today. Anything is better.
I'm sure you've all heard of what happened to Miss Cooper. She was a valued member of our team, and she will be missed. There's no date for a funeral, yet. But those who wish to attend, kindly speak with your respective supervisors. By the way, has anyone heard about our still AWOL staff? None? HR, you know what to do. Santos, a word in my office.
At the end of it, I've been given the entirety of Rose's workload, including finalizing the rights papers, and I've been promised an ample compensation for my efforts. I think he's expecting me to be happy about it. Instead, I immerse myself in my work. I have to. Anyway, if I want to forget. Time flies when you do, and by the time I give notice, it's already late. Everyone's already gone, leaving me in the company of a radio and a member of our janitorial staff. I don't even know his name. Rose likely does. She remembers people easily like that.
The Luxbon Police Department continues its search for the following reported missing people.
Radio blares one name after another. Hold on a second. Missing? Aren't they... Still, I have to check. Frantic, I turn back to my desktop. A loud tapping of my fingers against the keys fills the office for the better part of my shift as I look through everything. The background about the place, its history from the current owners, and its list of employees hired under BRC. And I'm right. Of course I am. BRC may have a lot of staff, but they may have a lot of agents hired. But I'd remember those names anywhere. After all, they're also part of the crew who worked with us in preparing the mansion for the open house. The letters... No, that can't be. I hope it's not what I'm thinking.
But Rose is...
Something snaps into place in the fraction of a moment. These people, Rose, the letter...
I need to... No. If it's like this, they still won't believe me. I have to make sure of it first.
Evidence doesn't lie. That's what Ash often says, right? If I have proof, then maybe. I don't want to get my hopes up yet, but maybe there's still a way I can save them. The letter, my phone, papers, anything that will be useful. I grab all of them and stuff them in my bag. I can't stay here. There's something I need to do. There's something as those people should... The noise cuts sharply through the room, stopping my hand short of cramming a pen into my bag.
Hello? Anyone there?
Someone must have left their printer open again. I may be in a hurry, but if I don't turn it off, another person is certainly going to have a fit tomorrow over wasted company resources. Most of the time, it's Rose who does the nagging, but the clicking of my pen in my hand is a welcome distraction as I search for said object. Each stride my feet take also echoes throughout the empty workplace. I've lost sight of the janitor minutes ago, and with me being the only one left, the tapping of my feet against the wooden floor is something I soon learned to appreciate. It doesn't take me long to find it. By the time I turn it off, 5 pages are already strewn about on the ground, paper tray having also been left ajar. Sighing, I pick up each of it up, put someplace proper. The page that greets me next makes my blood run cold. The chill that makes its way up my spine is as numbing as the day in that attic. The sheets crinkle under my tense grip. All I can hear is my breathing as it rasps through my gritted teeth. But before I can even gather myself, take the first steps out of here, total darkness suddenly envelops me. As if hearing every horrid thought running inside my head right now, something snaps. A soft creak grating through the thin veil of stillness that has descended into the room. Every muscle, every bone in my body goes rigid at the sound. Familiar. So familiar now. And my own traitorous curiosity still presses me to take a careful peek over the cubicle's wall. It's her. Standing in the only exit of the office, albeit facing away from me. She doesn't even need to turn around for me to know it's the same misshapen face, tattered clothes, and unsightly gait. The same person from the attic. I take a step back. The pen I'm holding slipped from my hands, and her entire head turns. Terrifying. A scream almost escapes my mouth and I duck under my table as quickly as I can. My heart is pounding against my chest. I can hear the bone-chilling sounds of her walking, the weird clicking that follows her, and telltale squelch of something wet as she walks towards me. Nearer and nearer. The sounds are slowly getting louder. The only thing keeping the whimper from escaping me is my hand as it covers my mouth. Someone, please save me. Anyone. I close my eyes, muttering a continuous stream of prayers, all while attempting to steady my own breathing. Please, please don't let her hear me.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
When the last lines of my prayer have left me, all that remains is a hush. None of her footsteps...
Nice.
Nor those chilling sounds she makes. Please silence. Safe? Another second passes, and when nothing comes... What? Well, shit. I died. I just wasn't expecting that QuickTime event. The seconds, minutes stretch out before me agonizingly. Is she gone? Slowly, I open my eyes to take a peek. I don't dare move or make a noise. In the face of such terror, I can only beg, let out silent pleas to whoever is out there. Please, please don't let her notice. I want to live. Oh! It is far too easy to get them to pay attention. Enraptured. They hang on to my every word and follow my every move. All of it would have been stifling had I not grown used to such stares. Most are respectful, some are hostile, if we are honest. And a few are downright inappropriate. After all, I am...
Right.
There's a moment of agitation as a familiar but less than welcome face approaches me with a suggestive smirk on his face. Of course, I have to keep a benevolent smile and greet him as I greet any good friend. After all, this man can turn heads, being famous in his own right.
Officer Lee! What a pleasant surprise. I didn't think you'd have the time to attend tonight's party.
He is more Luke's friend than mine, really, and I am quite sure I only invited his wife. Much like I am only friends with the Chief Inspector because of Luke, Luke is only friends with Rochelle because of me. Unlike how I treated Lee, however, Luke never hid his animosity for the Lee matriarch. It was an odd sort of friendship where we would have awkward double dates. I don't even recall his first name. It started with an N, I think. I might be wrong. Aside from being Chief Inspector of the Luxbourne Police, his wife, Rochelle Lee Vance, owns a General Electronics company, fridges and freezers mostly.
Oh, I always have time for my favourite socialite couple. Might I say, you look positively ravishing tonight.
Oh
I see the husband isn't with you.
Oh my. The way he eyes me up is enough to make my skin crawl. I just wish Luke was here to fend off the more unseemly of our peers. You know the ones. Men who are just a bit too friendly, staring too long at my assets and getting close just because my husband is not here. And to think they have the gall to do this at my own party. In my own house, if I might add. But, like any high society woman worth her salt, I know how to handle it with grace and dignity.
I suppose you are looking pleasant as well. Luke's busy with work, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Rochelle isn't here.
A shame. I do hope he isn't causing you much trouble. That husband of yours can be a bit daft sometimes, acting like he's still some young bachelor. The wife sends her regards and her apologies, but something came up with a doctor and she needed to attend to it. You know her, being pregnant and all.
We make small talk. Rather, I'm forced to do so, as he would not leave my side after finding his place there. Much to my chagrin, I've been extricated from the few who flock in hopes of flattering, for I can tolerate them far better than these. But better than Lee. He is a nice enough person, and I adore his wife, who is obviously the brains behind the two. But there is something unsettling about him. I do not trust him as much as I want to. He regales to me the story of the Luxbourne Police Department, a different affair to the usual gossip I am privy to, and though I loathe to admit, is interesting nonetheless. I expect the topic of business to die out quickly, which would be understandable enough due to the confidential nature of his work. But oh boy, was I wrong.
So, wearing civvies, I steal and drive off with one of the police mobiles, right? In the mirror, I see the new tank chasing on foot and screaming about theft. The look on his face was priceless when I parked in the garage.
Oh my. You made him chase you all the way home for a prank. What did Rochelle have to say about that?
Rochelle has a strange love and hate affair with Lee. He is a married man who did not grow up past his early 20s, judging by the way he acts. Surprisingly enough, they've been married for a good 20 years, a lifetime if you compare to my marriage of 7 years with Luke. I, on the other hand, well, Luke is no Lee. I should be happy about that, I suppose. Although my darling did have his moments.
Hey, the wife pulled my hair and gave me a good talking to, though. Besides, we live in a flat a block away, so it wasn't much of a grand chase.
Weren't you living in a house near the countryside?
Moved for work, you know. Or you probably don't.
No, I don't. But a flat in downtown? I suppose if that's what you like.
Oh, it's horrid. Hate that tiny place, no matter how convenient it can be for work. 55 square yards are not enough when you need to get away from the wife. I wouldn't mind a place away from the city. Even started looking at the ads. I spied an interesting lot, actually. Heard it was finally put up for sale. That something mansion, you know the one with all the ghost stories.
I know what he's talking about. There are really only a few urban legends around here. It does not. It does not at all, Luca.
The Ermagerd mansion?
The Ermagerd!
Worthy of a king it is. I'd buy it myself, but Rochelle would only gripe if I brought it up to her.
Hi, Luca.
Not to mention all the expenses a place like that will be a real fixer-upper. You also have to find someone willing to work there with how superstitious people can be.
If it becomes a problem, just hire someone to do an exorcism.
Actually, I do know of someone who could be up to the task. You remember the Ludgates party at their Christchurch summer residence?
The Christchurch summer residence?
Of course. It was an excellent soiree. Everything was so classy, too. Such good taste.
Oh, that place was a pigsty until they hired out this interior designer and they turned it into a bloody palace. She worked for the Exodus for their apartment in Soho too, and they recommended her when we were looking up pieces for our beach house in Porto Colom. I think I have a business card, right? No, I must have left it in my other jacket. Anyway, she's called, what's her name? Marianne, I believe, yes. But truly, if anyone were to get that place in McCullough, well, they'd be the envy and the talk of the town.
Yeah, it's a lot of content.
Well, if you put it that way, I might just snatch it up for myself. This place was starting to feel a bit small lately anyway.
Sure, a 3-story penthouse might not fit the definition of small for some people. Okay, maybe a lot of people, but it isn't big enough to have grand parties in. As it is, I only invited about 30 people to this one, and it already feels cramped in here. It certainly would be nice if I didn't have to ride an elevator up and down several floors before I can get anywhere as well. All Luke's words and not mine. Besides, I have been looking for a good anniversary gift. Luke might like this one. Where is he, anyway? This is Luke, my husband. Luke is dressed to the nines as he usually is, and he looks ready for whatever the day will throw at him. His butler and valet wait at his side, just in case he isn't as ready as he looks. Oh sure, that is normal. What is confusing me is the fact that he is on his way out of the penthouse, considering he won't have anywhere to go until much later.
Where are you going?
I am to attend the Triad Autumn tasting. I do believe I informed you of this 2 weeks ago.
Yes. And might I remind you that I had stricken that off your schedule? Because 1, the doctor told you to stop consuming so much alcohol. And 2, I informed you a few days ago about the open house we are going to attend in its place. I've even found this marvelous interior designer, Mary Ann McCullough.
It's a 3.5-hour drive to Cardiff. I don't have time for this. This is like that little party you threw all over again. You don't inform me of it, and you expect me to stay and be a gracious host when I have business elsewhere. You know how I operate, Hannah. Unless this was penciled in, I am sticking to my schedule.
If I may intrude, the madam is correct. Your physician did insist you moderate your drinking, unless you wish to incur acute pancreatitis.
What the fuck is this accent? I just want to know where this is taking place. Like, they have so many accents in this game.
And you did have this open house penciled in last Wednesday morning.
Bullocks, I don't remember doing so.
Well, you did. While very hungover, in fact.
Did. Moaned about me being too loud, but gave in after some pushing. Perhaps that was a bit too cruel and manipulative of me, but...
Whose side are you on?
Come on, Luke. You promised we'd do whatever I want this weekend.
Gordon Bennett, fine.